Economic collapse news. Americans' pensions and corporations are bankrupt. Proof not shown on TV. Hey gang, this is Mike with MrNoFluff.com and MyRealEstateDojo.com. And today I'm preaching to you something that I've been telling you guys since 2016. In 2016, I told you guys that the economy's going to shit, and everyone laughed at me. And now, 2 years later, here is the proof, ladies and gentlemen. So I was 2 years early. One of the largest milk producers in America is filing for bankruptcy. Now, this business has been in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years. So this is not the only business. We saw GM get bailed out in the last crash. We are seeing Ford stop making cars. We're seeing GM stop making cars. I brought to you guys on my YouTube channel that GE put a freeze on their pension payout. And now it's coming to light there's this major crisis in pensions. So let's go dive into this story and read a little bit more. It says that this company that's over 90 years old, okay, is having too much debt and therefore is not able to make pensions. Okay, and that is a story that I brought to you guys, that today in America we have what's called debt-preneurs. It's not entrepreneurs, it's debt-preneurs. The closer you are to the printing press, which is the Federal Reserve, like big corporations and bankers, central bankers, the more you're able to get in debt at really easy. You don't have to have a FICO score. You don't have to have X, Y, or Z like the average working class America. They don't have to worry about a credit score, FICO score. The closer you are to the printing press, the easier you're able to get money. But that does not guarantee your success. Actually, what that does is guarantee your failure. And now we've seen it in GMC. We've seen it in Ford. Now we're seeing it in GE. Now we're seeing it in even dairy producing company. This one company owns all these different subsidiaries or side companies, okay? And what's happening is that they have so much debt. You would imagine that, a business that's been in business for 90 years would, be debt-free, would be very secure, very successful, have a hard foundation. But no, the totally opposite. The longer the business is in business, the more debt it gets. Unlike when I started my business, right out of college with $100, I was living in my car. I couldn't afford to be my dream, start my business, and pay for an apartment. So I decided to live in my car. Through sacrifice, through creativity, to imagination, to hard work, I was able to create one business where I owned for 14 to 15 years. Debt-free, no bank loans. From there, I started another business and another business, etc. No bank loans, no credit cards. So my question to you is, why does a company that sells at every grocery store, from Whole Foods to Walmart to Kroger to Tom Thumb, you name it, they're in every store, millions of Americans are drinking it, how do they file bankruptcy? Because they have too much debt. They grow because of debt. And that's what the problem with entrepreneurs is in America, is that you have all these companies like GMC, Fords that have locations in every parts of the world. They have every other car people driving it, every other refrigerator has milk in it, but still the companies go bankrupt because they have too much debt. They've grown artificially, and now it's time to pay for the heart attack. Just kind of like if you pump yourself with some steroids, well, yeah, you can have so much more muscle than the guy that doesn't do that, right? But eventually you got to pay the reaper. You're going to have to pay the cause and the effect, the consequences of your action. And now, instead of the owners taking the hit, who's taking the hit? Well, guess what? The pensions are taking the hit. The people that actually made the owners rich are taking the hit, guys. And that's like ridiculous. Now, the question is, why is people drinking less milk? Because it says here that people are drinking less milk right there, if you take a look at it. And the reason is because more and more Americans are starting to realize that they need things that are less sugary and plant-based, because the number one cause of death in America is heart attacks, diabetes, cancer, which are all linked to your eating habits. And as more and more people become awake and they realize that stuffing their mouth with nasty sugars and bunch of meat and things of that nature is only making them faster to go to their graves, is only making them faster to go file bankruptcy because healthcare is so expensive, is only making them poorer, then more and more corporations are going to go bankrupt because as more and more people wake up and they realize that, hey, what you put into your body really makes a difference. Hey, you don't need 50 different things in your life. You don't need to just be a consumerism, just constantly consume, right? That there's more to life than accumulation. That you should spend time with your kids instead of buying them something, put some time into them. Instead of watching TV, maybe you should put the time into your kids. Maybe you should put the time into being your dreams. As more people wake up to this, more and more bankers are going to go belly up, cars are going to go belly up, and even milk, guys. One of the largest companies in America are filing bankruptcy, and guess what? It's not going to be able to pay its pensions, which is people's that have already done the work 10, 20, 30 years ago, and now they're at their 50s, 60s, 70s just trying to retire. They can't work no more. And guess what? They said, I'm sorry, we're not going to give you any more money. We're going to have to file bankruptcy, okay, to save the pensions according to them. Now, this is just the milk industry. But I want to bring you to the auto industry too. Nissan, I love Nissan. I've owned Nissan. My family's a Nissan owner. But even Nissan, profits have fell 70% in the last quarter, guys. Now, we have Trump. We have other people come out here saying we have the best economy in the world. Stocks are going high, high. But the truth of the fact is, in the streets, I'm not even surveying the people. I'm just surveying corporations of America, the elites, like Nissan, like the America's largest milk producer. They're all are hurting so bad. So when we have a manipulation market like the stock market, when there's truly no capitalism anymore, why is there no capitalism? Because one brother owns Bank of America in the last crash, when they owned so many bankers that give them so many $120 billion to become stockholders, and it wasn't an option. When the stock market has been manipulated, when bankers are being busted over and over by doing shady things like Wells Fargo, creating bank accounts on their customer's name that it's not, they weren't even setting it up. J.P. Morgan manipulating the precious metals. You had mortgage-backed security meltdown last time, and no bankers went to jail, guys. Some of them paid a little bit of money, but they made trillions, but they paid millions, which is nothing, like hundreds of dollars compared to the amount of money they made in Big Brother. Not the people that lost their home didn't get no money for it, just to pay Big Brother. So you can see this is a whorehouse where Big Brother and corporations are just whoring each other, and the sluts are us, the people, the working people, the ones that's working, because you can work for a corporation, and then after 30, 40 years, when you're thinking you're going to be retired, you ain't going to have shit. You may work for a corporation and you put your retirement in 401s, and the stock market is being manipulated. Not financial advice, and I don't have any proof, but you got to be an idiot not to think that the stock market is not being manipulated, because we have the Fed cutting rates. It goes up, then they start cutting down because the economy can't sustain it. We are having bank-to-bank runs where the Fed is bailing out in the repo market banks, because what the repo market is bank-to-bank lending. The problem is that majority of these banks don't even have what's called the fraction of the reserve. We have what's called fractional reserve lending, which means that when you deposit money into a bank, $10, the bank's only going to hold on to $1 of it. But the problem is they don't even have the dollar. They've already lended out the 100%. So that's why the repo market is in place, where one bank may have a reserve currency and hundreds of banks are using that as a shared reserve. And if this wasn't happening, the banks have gone belly up already by bailouts of the repo banks. It just shows you that there is no liquidity in the banks, even though they've been pumping billions of dollars for weeks and weeks and in. And you can see that corporations like car dealerships are taking a hit. You can see that food is taking a hit. You can see that farmers are taking a hit with trade wars. You can see that inflation is so crazy. And here's the crazy thing. I keep saying you can see, but the truth of the fact is majority of people in America cannot see. They cannot see. Not only in America, in Germany, and Italy, majority of people cannot see because they've been indoctrinated. They've been trained to think a certain way, and right in front of them, there's a big wave of tsunami coming. But in their mind, that this is not it. Big Brother's going to take care of them. Big Brother is going to bail them out, and they don't understand that the Big Brother is sleeping with the corporations. The corporations are buying the lobbyists, and the lobbyists are buying in return the government makers and politicians all over the world, from India to Pakistan to Iran to America. They're all, that's, I don't want to say all, but majority are just sleazy. I mean, I like Ron Paul. I think he should be the president. But again, his ideas and my ideas are not cool in America because we live in what's called debt-preneur. Debt-preneur, where you can have everything in the world without working for it. You can have, we live in a world where everyone can have cars, education, clothes, houses, and they haven't paid for it, and they haven't worked for it, and they haven't come with a better idea or better gadget. No shape or form have they sacrificed, have they worked over hard, but they have the whole Bentley, they have the BMW, they have all these cool things, I'm not going to tell that person's name, but I was talking to someone close to me, and I said, man, dude, you're a poser, because, I look at this individual. They got a nice car. They got nice clothes. If you see them, you think that he's balling. But the truth of the fact is that this guy lives with his mama. 40 years old, lives with mama. He has this beautiful car. You look at him, he looks like $1 million. He lives with his mama. His mama does his fucking clothes. And, if you saw him, he's a poser, and that's what most Americans are. That's what most corporations are in America. They're posers. You have corporations that are so big that they're in everyone's refrigerator, right? However, they're bankrupt. However, they don't own anything. The bankers own them. You have GMC, which is in every country, every state, every city, every other car is GMC. But again, they're dead, dude. You have, I brought to you guys on my YouTube channel, H&R Homes, if I'm not mistaken, HR Homes, that for every dollar they bring in, they're indebted 4.7 times that. So simply put, if I round up, for every dollar they bring in, right, or for every $5 they bring in, only they get $1 because four of it is to the bankers, right? So for them to make $1, they got to get indebted 4.7 times that. And so we live in a society where corporations are zombies walking. They're buying their own stocks because they're getting free dead money, guys, dead money, right? And so what they do is they get this dead money. They buy their stocks. The reason they buy their own stocks is so stock market can go up. So they could get bonuses. So they could get higher pay. Top management CEOs. And meanwhile, the average dumb money, which is us, that's what they call us, dumb money. We're buying the stock market, and if a company is worth, let's say, $1 billion, because so many people are buying the stock, they value it at $5 billion, right, or $5 million. 5 times more than what the company is worth, but we're two idiots because we have 401s, we have pensions, we're in the consumption, growth. It does not matter if we ruin their corporations, it doesn't matter if we kill our workers, it doesn't matter if we kill the environment, it does not matter if our spend time with our kids. It doesn't matter. What we need is growth. What we need is grow more. What we need is debt. And we'll worry about the consequences later. And the consequences is the largest milk producer in America is filing bankruptcy, dude, in the best time economy according to Trump, right? If Trump is so right, which he's fucking 100% not, in my opinion, not financial advice, right? He's not right. You wouldn't have bankruptcy of a company that's 100 years old. You would not be having 70% losses at Nissan. You would not be having, Ford not making cars. You would not have GMC not making cars. You would not have home builders that for every dollar they make, they're 5 times indebted to that. This is not a normal economy. We don't have a normal economy. We have a rigged game. We have a Ponzi scheme, and all the people, middle class, working class, are working their ass off to be funneled their riches up the river to the elites. And if you don't believe me, I'm happy for you. Do your own research, right? This is not financial advice. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. This is just my opinion. And usually, you know, I'm just a refugee, guys. I'm more wrong than I'm right. I can tell you that, right? But in my heart of hearts, I know I'm right about this. But again, this is just my opinion. And in 2016, if you go to my YouTube channel, I was one of the only guys out here saying that, dude, the market is about to belly up. To be a house flipper is the dumbest idea, right? There are YouTube channels here that are real estate investors. They started in real estate in 2016, right? They started in 2016. I got out of the business in 2016, guys, right? So it shows you the level of ignorance is out there, and some people follow these ignorance people because, hey, we're trained to be ignorant, right? You know, we're not trained to be like Ron Paul. That's why Ron Paul didn't become the president, because he knew that central bankers are enslaving you, but you don't want to believe that, right? He knew that Big Brother is a siphon of your wealth and your youth, but no one wants to believe that, right? We think that the bigger Big Brother becomes, the safer we become, the bigger corporations become, the too big they become, the better it is for us. In reality, it's the inverse. In reality, it's the opposite, guys. Anyways, guys, click the like button, share this message if you're interested into getting into real estate, because in my opinion 2019 is the best time to be in real estate. Not because prices are going up, no, because the market is about to tank, about to crash, and there's going to be tsunami of foreclosures, tsunami of motivated sellers, because stocks, because pensions, because so many different things. And if you're interested in capitalizing on situations like this and making a win-win for yourself and your family, then, and if you're interested in working with me and sharing the profits, then join me at Profit Sharing. We meet every Saturday from your computer at mrnofluff.com. At mrnofluff.com, guys. You might want to check out all the tools that I have at myrealestatedojo.com. To support me is basically to support yourself, is what I'm trying to get to. Much love. Peace.